all up into the 605 area. So we are making higher lows, right? But we haven't made higher highs currently since June 11th, all right? And so what we need to see is we need to see a continuation above 602.20, right? And we are right there now. So the market wants more. Tomorrow, we could wake up tomorrow in the morning and see higher prices up to these all-time highs. I am in calls. I did inform the Discord group that we would get into calls. And so take some time to pat yourself on the back. If you're listening, if you're new to the channel, or if you've been rocking with me, you are in the money, all right? You are in the money, all right? Remember, we started before we hit 500 subscribers. We are almost there, guys. We are almost there. All right, that was from 3 days ago, 3 days earlier, a video that I made for the group and for the YouTube community. I am your boy, Coach UV, and this is the Unique Trading Group, and this is an episode of OPEX Friday. A little bit of trade talk and commentary along with receipts. Check out this Mark Douglas stock trading psychology seminar for about 30 or 40 seconds. And then we're going to get into the charts. What we've seen today, a very, very explosive move to the upside. What we expected, all right? And so with that commentary and with that said, I appreciate you clicking on the video tonight, all right? I won't hold you long, all right? This is the Unique Trading Group, and I'm Coach UV. Thanks for watching. Let's continue the video.
That's going to mess you up. Go ahead.
What you're really saying is you have to have a belief in your plan or your methodology, and you're looking for a probabilistic result saying over a period of time, I will execute 60, 70, 80% of my trades. The one I'm going into now could be a good one, could be a bad one.
That's right.
I don't care.
That's right. Exactly right. Perfect. Thank you. This is where we're going. Okay? Thinking, assuming, or believing you know what will happen next creates an unrealistic expectation in a specific outcome. What's wrong with an unrealistic expectation? Well, think about, let's say, expectations in relationship to the characteristics of humanity. This cuts across everybody and cuts across all cultural lines or barriers. Everyone, well, first of all, we even get to that point. What is an expectation? An expectation is a mental representation. In other words, a belief, an assumption, or an opinion, or whatever, thinking, assuming, or believing, a mental representation of what the next moment, meaning next moment, next 5 seconds, or the next in 10 seconds, or the next hour, or whatever, is either going to, in the environment. In other words, we have a mental representation, and we have an external environment that expresses itself, okay? So my mental representation, meaning my expectation, if the environment shows up in a way that is consistent with what I believe, then what will my state of mind be? This is a universal characteristic of humanity. This isn't any different with anybody, anywhere. How will I feel? What will be my state of mind? What will be my experience? I'll be in a state of satisfaction, a state of well-being. I could be joyous. I could even end up in a state of euphoria. The degree to which the environment does not express itself in a way that's consistent with the way I think it's either going to look like, sound like, taste like, smell like, or feel like, okay? I will be in a state of dissatisfaction.
All right, and I'm going to stop the video there. An interesting take on satisfaction and dissatisfaction. This is important to me because there's also this intuitive instinct about traders, all right? Right? If you're dissatisfied with something, or if you're satisfied with something, right? Pretty much the whole entire premise is you need to have this time in the market where the instincts from what you feel, right? The feeling you feel from your setup, your edge, you know it once you see that. It needs to become one. It becomes who you are. That's an instinct of a trader, okay? When you're satisfied versus being dissatisfied, all right? Satisfaction is key, but if you're dissatisfied, these are emotions that you have to deal with. And I want to base this video around that. All right, before we get into the charts, remember this is OPEX Friday, and this is a phenomenon in the stock market where a lot of contracts expire. It's a big movement in the option chain for the futures market, the commodities, the indices, the equities market. All right, if you're new to trading indoor season, you might know about the SPY, Nvidia, Tesla, Amazon, some of the big seven of the Mag 7 they call it. So I know that you guys are probably familiar. It affects the price. And today we had that OPEX Friday. And before we hop over to the charts, all right, anybody who's listening, if you're busy, new, a little skeptical about trading stocks, all right, you're exactly who I help, all right? If you're tired of missing the best trades, because this market is giving some of the best setups, all right, it's just about which one do you pick? What risk to reward is better for you, right? If you're tired of FOMOing out, fear of missing out, chasing trades, chasing signals, all right, do me a favor. Click that link above to the right. Take that free course. Let me show you how I turn discipline into income. Let that hone in and sit with you. All right. Appreciate if you were to do that. If you stop the video and go check it out, it'll be just for you. All right. Now to continue the video, let's hop over to the SPY. Today was a crazy move. Okay. We already predicted that we could see all-time highs. And so this is very, very telling, right? Simple in nature. Profit has been taken from up here. All right. The bulls had their joy. All right. Right around lunchtime, 12, 1 o'clock, we had to sell off as expected, right? Right over here, too predictable demand level here where it bounced from before a reset, right? I informed the group that I would be waiting for a pullback. I also took profits on some of my call swings that I informed the group about, and I participated in myself. So I took profits, locked in, and towards the end of the day, I stated that I wanted to buy back. And that's what you have here, right? Understand that we are in a bullish state. Yes, they're going to be profit taking, but here's what you need to understand. All right, there's something called market Eternals, and I'm going to go inside of my Discord here and give you some commentary on what I've seen inside the COT report. All right, this is your global breakout thesis. All right, SPY is at 6-month highs. All right, fresh breakout, daily, weekly, parallel channels. All right, SPY signaling a higher time frame rally, but what's next? All right, here's a precise bull bear catalyst guide for you guys to think about. All right, bull case. All right, fuel for the rally, rate cut hopes intensify. All right, Fed members Waller, Bowman. All right, the signaling potential July cuts as inflation cools. You know that's going to cause a rally, right? Markets now pricing in a 56% chance of a multiple cuts by year end. All right, multiple cuts year end. All right, 56% is a lot. All right, Trump rhetoric. All right, putting pressure on the Fed. If yields ease, SPY blasts higher. We already seeing that rhetoric in the market today. Tariff truce and trade momentum. U.S.-China easing plus U.S. and the EU talks lower trade risk. All right, critical July 9th tariff deadline looms. Extension equals green light for industrial tech materials. Okay, now what if we're already pricing in this move for it to not go good and we're seeing a rally up until then into the 4th of July holiday? Something to think about and ponder on. Remember I said that. The AI mega cap surge, the tech leaders, of course, right? And the market breadth remains narrow, all right? So the catalyst could expand gains, all right? All right, market breadth, all right, trend, your ADD line, and your tick chart. If this is your first time listening as a beginner and you hear me say market breadth, that just means that I look at things on the inside. I pull back the lid to see where's the money at and where's the flow. Okay, is money rotating from this sector to that sector? Are people in fear or are they in greed? All right, I look at a chart, which you're not seeing just yet because we're doing commentary, but on the charts and on the option chain you can't see that. Just wanted you to understand what market breadth is. Are we bullish or bearish? All right, and sometimes we need news, which is catalyst right here, catalyst to give us that extra boost we need for the market to go in the direction we anticipate. All right, so your bear case, all right, what could stall it? Tariff extension fallout, like we mentioned before, about a July 9th. All right, if those talks continue to escalate July 9th, export sensitive sectors face pressure. All right, so those companies, those stocks who are affected by a tariff, all right, what businesses are being affected with their purchases in their sales. All right, now let's hop over to Unique Outlook 2025 before we hop over to the charts. Appreciate you guys rocking with me this long. If you've been enjoying the commentary thus far, do me a favor. Excuse me, guys, a little bit under the weather today. Do me a favor and hit that like button if you found value in it. All right, it helps with the YouTube algorithm to push this video to those who also find it valuable. All right. And if you're not subscribed, that link is below as well. All right. So back to business at hand. The COT report. All right. Big money hedgers, they're repositioning defensively. All right. While fast money spectators, all right, they're trimming exposure. So you get the pullback, right? A little bit of profit taking. The market eternals have softened a little bit. No strong rotation or breakout yet, right? We're right slab in the middle. All right. We're not seeing accumulation in SPY. We're biblically healing in place, okay? We are biblically healing in place, all right? So if SPY eternal breath improves, it could trigger a spec re-entry and a commercial short covering, all right? Pivot bullish, all right? Again, if the SPY eternal breath improves, it could trigger a rally, short covering rally, all right? So if they deteriorate, expect a soft pullback or grind lower as hedgers continue to protect. All right, so that means people are buying puts, hoping that SPY can fall back down to a place of support that could be. Right now, we're currently at around, I want to say 612, 613, maybe 610, 605, 600, being a psychological level. These could be where they are positioned. Last week, I had a more bullish case for the COT report, but there seems to be some shaving off and there seems to be some hedging, but it's not overly bearish or overly bullish. All right, and so back at SPY, we just closed for the week. All right. Obviously, there were a lot of option expiration dates for puts that expired. All right. Those folks who wanted to buy calls more seem like they got their play today. They got their play today because we have SPY breaking over highs, trying to reclaim the closing price here. All right. We have breaking over highs on the weekly time frame here. All right. That's a bullish indication on this OPEX Friday. Breaking over highs, we close bullish for the week. That's a bullish signal, no matter how much we pull back. And we also have a couple of days left into next week, which is a catalyst in itself for a monthly candle close. And so that's what we need in order for the market to show its true hands. Remember that I said that because I will be recapping this video, even if this is a recap itself. What a matrix. What a matrix. We will see new highs next week when the monthly candle close, if we close higher than the previous week and daily by the 1st of July. All right. If not, we revisit some lows and a little bit of profit taking, and we will reassess there. All right. Now let's hop over to Tesla, and we're going to quickly move along. We're going to end this video here for the OPEX Friday video. Tesla had a tough day today. All right. Tesla had a tough day today. I don't know if you traded Tesla, but we did have some movers in the market. Palantir completely flushed at the market. I mean, completely flushed. All right. My guidance on on Tesla a couple of days ago in that same video I previewed in the beginning of this video, I told you about the breakdown for Tesla, that it was a bear pennant that we could fall back down. But we still have not failed below 320. So there's a possible chance we could bounce. And until then, we're just going to have to wait and see what it does, because 320 is holding. If we fall below, that's when we want to be thinking about puts. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hop over to Palantir. We got to check out Palantir. Palantir really dropped at the market a whole bunch. You see this big drop during the day? That was a 9% drop, 10% drop. All right. It even got harder than that. Right. So we have a little bit of capitulation, all right, a little bit of panic selling from some folks, and some news that came out markets minutes before, all right. Go ahead and finish out this bear flag measure move, all right. Bear flag measure move, which is nothing more than a rally, right? A rally base drop, all right. This is a futures term if you trade futures, a rally drop. I'm sorry, drop base drop. Forgive me for that. All right, drop, base drop is a technical term and pattern. See the down move, the base, bar coding, the range, whatever you want to call it. And then we have the next move that mimics, all right? And that's what we have on Palantir. We could see further downside. We could stay into chop, but bet you believe that somebody's going to try to buy it up. And they've already done that, all right? Panic selling. Some folks that were in some positions and calls maybe got out, all right? So that's my take on Palantir. And we're going to look at one more ticker, Amazon. All right, Amazon has been doing really great. Right, 216 demand zone has been working out just fine here, as you can see on my chart. All right, we at 223. Amazon wants 230 and 240 over time. There are some catalysts looming, and if you look on a weekly time frame, this is a very bullish case. So I see the market continue to rally next week on this OPEX Friday. It's been a very bullish OPEX Friday, a very telling Friday. All right, and so I want to continue to let the chart guide me. All right, I appreciate you guys watching, and if you did enjoy this video, hit that like and subscribe. All right. Join a thriving community. Check out the link below, all right? And let me show you guys how I've shown the other people who found success, all right? And having a desire to really fish for themselves and to make this a consistent thing over time, all right? Give yourself some grace if you're new, all right? Appreciate you guys' time rocking with me. Until the next time I see you guys, you stay safe out there, all right? Enjoy your weekend, all right? Don't think about trading, all right? You got a whole weekend to study, but take some time for yourself. Give yourself some grace, all right? A lot of things are going on, all right? And time is very, very valuable, all right? So don't waste it, all right? Make sure that it's useful, even if it's just sleep, all right? You might need some sleep from a long week. You understand what I'm saying to you? All right. This is Coach V again with the Unique Trading Group. And this is where strategy meets mindset and discipline turns into income. All right. Remember to always protect your risk. All right. Always define your entry, your exits, and your risk before every trade. All right. And you'll be better off than before. Okay. Signing off. Until the next time, guys. Peace.